working. It's not working. All right, I'm going coach mode. This is the mode I work best in. Being a basketball coach for 30 years. We want to welcome you to First Fridays. I know some of you, this is your first time. Some of you, this is your 15th time to be at First Fridays. But we are excited that you're here today. Before we do any other introductions, I want to bring up Aaron Hazard. Aaron is the CEO here at Lutheran Hospital, and he would like to welcome folks this morning.
But absolutely, just how exciting is this to host an event that truly builds the leadership of this region? And thank you for participating. So, I think we all, in all of our capacities, would probably resonate with the idea that finding and developing leaders is probably our hardest challenge. Certainly the hardest challenge for any organization, particularly an organization as large as Lutheran Health Network. So God bless you in your work. God bless you as you grow. And just remember, it's not about you. It's about who you serve.
Yeah. Very good.
Again, thank you for being here. We have, I was telling Tess up front, Tess is from St. Francis, and was telling her we have representation of schools from the area within about 30 miles radius. So all the different schools are represented today. We have two special guests from our campus down in Marion. Actually, the two people that are my boss as well above me are our chancellor, Dr. Matt Lucas, a former First Friday speaker, and then Sylvia Decker, she is our new vice president. So we're excited. If you have had a cup of coffee with a guy named half the room has had a cup of coffee. That's a lot of coffee. I myself have spent time with Rocky, but I am not old enough to drink coffee yet. So I keep telling myself that. But if you have not had a cup of coffee, make sure you get with Rob afterwards, and he would love to take you for a cup of coffee. The great thing about Rob, our speaker today, not only is he qualified to share what he is going to speak about conversational intelligence, he's a pastor, he is a shepherd of people. Those who've had the opportunity to spend, you mean to spend a half an hour of drinking coffee with him that turns into 2.5 hours of wonderful conversation. He is just one of the finest connectors and communicators that I have met since I've been back in Fort Wayne. So the best thing I can say about Rob Key to introduce him is he is a wonderful friend to the Fort Wayne community. Please welcome our speaker today, Rob Key.
Thank you, brother. It's my turn. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can we hear me? Okay, awesome. Wow, what a blessing it is to be able to be with you this morning, and that you would come out and hear me. I'm seriously humbled and very grateful. There's a lot of people here that I've had the privilege and honor of being able to meet, being able to have coffee with, as Jerry said. Many of you, I would love to set up future engagements for that time of fellowship together. But one thing that I would like you just to know about me is that I'm passionate. I'm passionate about touching people's lives. It's not about a group, although groups are great because it gets more individuals in the one place at one time. But it's about the person. It's about the individual. It's about the person that you get to spend time with and the person that you get to converse with. And one thing that we're going to talk about this morning is conversational intelligence, and it's how to do that in a way that might actually be more productive. Myself, I'm a 2-year new import to Fort Wayne, for those of you that don't know. I came from Santa Barbara, California. I didn't hear the gasp. That is, wow. Every time I say that, somebody's like, why? Why? In all reality, God miraculously opened the doors. We left the surf for the snow, and we were 4 miles from the beach at our house, and we left the 50-degree winters for the minus 50-degree winters. So I never had that on my bucket list, but I did I put it on there just so I could check it off. I lived through a minus 50-degree winter. And I can also tell all my California friends to suck it up when it gets to 40 degrees, and they're complaining. I have a beautiful and wonderful wife of 36 years. My daughter will be 21 this coming December. My son is 34, has a beautiful wife of 15 years, and we have 3 wonderful grandchildren of 11, just turned 11, and 12. So we're very thankful to be able to be here. Fort Wayne is a special place. And one thing I'd like to say about Fort Wayne is that you're a community that really wants to be in unity. I've never been in a place, and I've been to a lot of places, where I have seen so much collaboration and unity to come together to help one another make their city a better place. Of course, I think we can see the national statistics have proven that out, as Fort Wayne being one of the best places in America to live. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about conversations and why we don't connect always what we're meaning to convey. Hearing doesn't actually mean we're effectively communicating. We hear a lot of things, but we're not necessarily picking up the message. When we ask ourselves if we're an effective communicator, the metric to measure that is how well you're able to actually convey the intent of your message. Here's another one. What does your work culture say about how effective you are at conveying your message? What does your home culture say about how effective you are at conveying your message? Just a decade ago, $55 billion a year were spent on personal development, leadership development, communication. But Forbes says that as of July of this year that $166 billion a year is spent in the United States alone on leadership development. And that's a $366 billion global market. I mean, think about this. We spend this kind of money on being better communicators, yet we still continue to fall short. Inc. magazine said that the recent figures from the Holmes report calculates the cost of poor communication at an overwhelming $37 billion annually. Poor communication is costing $37 billion annually. In addition, 400 surveyed corporations, each with a minimum of 100,000 employees, estimate that communication barriers cost the average organization $62.5 million a year in productivity alone. I see a trend, do you? But effective communication may not be as easily achieved as one might think. Let's take a look at some real headlines. What do you hear? Gas cloud clears out Taco Bell. You've already got the mental picture on that one, right? What about this one? I bet she's happy to hear that news. How about that one? Now see, coming from California, I'm not sure that there's any other way to take that than how it sounds. Some people just need to come back to earth. Effective communication. To be clear, I am not a neuroscientist, but I am a specialist in the neuroscience of conversation. This doesn't mean that I've perfected the skill. You can just ask my family and my wife of 36 years. But it does mean that I'm continuously digging deeper in my understanding of how I can utilize neuroscience to create transformational conversations and to help other people do the very same thing. Effective communication requires intelligent conversation because conversations really do matter. A study conducted by Stanford University discovered that 9 out of 10 conversations miss the mark. Regardless of preparation, regardless of topic or content, the results are the same. 90% of what you're trying to communicate is missing the mark. Whether you're conveying a message to a boss, to a peer, to an employee, to a spouse, to a child, parent to child, 90% of the time, the statistics are saying we're not fully communicating or connecting what we're trying to communicate. Can you imagine running a business this way? 90% failure rate? But we run our lives this way all the time. We need to get better at our conversations and how to properly regulate them, because the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it's actually taken place. You know, the conversation, you have everything planned out, you take aim, and there's many times no do-overs. It's done. Because we haven't taken the time to really think about how we're going to say what we're going to say. How do we combat this conversational fatality rate? I believe this is where conversational intelligence comes in. Conversational intelligence is the inherent ability that every human being has access to if they would just step into a new paradigm of human interaction. Conversational intelligence is the life work of the world-renowned organizational anthropologist Judith Glaser. I was given the privilege and the opportunity to be one of the first 500 globally certified and mentored conversational intelligence coaches by her before her passing just last year after losing her battle with cancer. But Judith believed that the CIQ skill set was an inherent ability that every human being had access to. Every human being had access to. You and I can do this. You don't have to have a special education. You don't have to be smarter. You don't have to be from a certain culture or a certain race or a certain social economic class. It's available for you and I. Conversational intelligence is the hardwired and learnable ability to connect, navigate, and grow with others. CIQ begins with trust and ends with a high-quality relationship with business and personal success. Okay, I want to do a little experiment here. Now, first of all, if we can just go for a minute into our mental imaginations. If I had a balloon here, I didn't bring a balloon because I didn't know how many people would walk out if I really brought one. Then I started blowing the balloon up. How many of you like balloons? Okay, there's a few. Okay, so I start blowing it up. Everybody's okay. I start blowing up a little bit. It's middle sized now. How do you feel now that it's middle sized? Are you feeling okay? Okay, you feel okay now. But I'm going to keep blowing because I want to maximize what I'm going to get. I paid money for this balloon. I want to get as much air in it that I can. So I keep blowing, and I keep blowing, and I keep blowing, and the skin starts becoming transparent. What are you feeling now? Are you telling me to stop? Please stop. And then I pull a pin out and I hold it in front of you and I say, now what are we going to do? Wouldn't feel so good. But then what if I released all the air and it just fell lifelessly into my hand and I put it back on my desk here? Those are just micro moments of cortisol injections versus oxytocin immersions. The cortisol was building as I was blowing the balloon up, and depending on your fear of or resistance to balloon popping, it would elevate that to a certain level. And then once I got ready to pop it, it would be on the extreme injection of cortisol, because cortisol makes you want to duck and run. And then once I released it, there would be release. That cortisol would be down-regulated, and oxytocin would start flowing in, allowing you to relax a little bit more. And there are many other neuroscientific chemicals that take place there, but we're only going to talk about two. So right now I'd like to ask two of my friends to come up here. Barry Schrock. Let's give it up for Barry. Woo! And Brian DeCook. Where's Brian? All right, Brian. Come on here, stand by your friend. If you don't know these guys are awesome. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want you to look at each other. And I want you to look at wow, the fight is on. Okay. And I want you to look at each other with a critical eye. Okay, so I want you to find something about the other person that you just don't like, that you could actually criticize, whether it's hair or lack of, whether it's your suit or your pants or your cool shoes, whatever it is, just something that you can criticize. Think about it just for a minute. Okay, stop. Now don't say anything. Now, when you're trying to think of something to criticize, how does that make you feel as the person, Brian, trying to think of something to criticize Barry?
I get a little defensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to criticize him?
Well, because I know he's criticizing me.
Yeah.
A lot of material there.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Barry, how about you, buddy?
I felt judged. Like, you don't know me. Like, who you looking at? You know, like, you don't know what I went through today. And definitely defensive. Definitely a little bit defensive as far as like, what are you looking at me like that for?
Okay, now wash all that away. That never happened. It's all gone. Shake it off. There you go. There you go. Shake it off. Okay, now look at each other again and look for something that you can affirm, something you like and appreciate about the other person. Just look at that person and find that. They both look at each other's heads. Yeah. Okay, now Barry, why don't you share with Brian what you appreciate about him?
One thing that I definitely appreciate, Brian has a great presence, great energy about him. Whenever I'm around you, even just being right now, it's that great calming presence. You always have nice, pleasant energy and presence about you, and your expressions are always kind and warm. Thank you.
Okay, Brian?
Yeah,
you go ahead.
Barry is a giver. Such a giver, and he makes everybody around him better, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I just feel like I'm getting better just looking at Barry.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so Brian, how did that make you feel when Barry shared with you what he did?
I feel it was great. I wish I could maybe call him.
Calm. Okay. Yeah. Good. Barry, how about you? How did you feel when Brian shared with you?
Yeah, definitely felt like relaxed, felt like really